in Memphis, hold off on travel. There is an absolutely dangerous and large tornado that's now approaching the community of Earl, Arkansas here. And when we look at the correlation coefficient, we certainly have a debris ball. It's kind of right in there or right in there. If we put this in motion, we get an idea. So there, okay, so we got two areas of rotation. I think the actual tornado, JD, where you say it's by Parkin, or would you say just to the, okay, so it's the one right there, just to the west of Earl. That is where the apparent tornado is. This has been confirmed. We've already seen the kind of destruction it has put down in Wynne, Arkansas. That's what you're looking at the bottom left of your screen, all right? Roofs, ripped off homes. That is what can be expected now in the community of Earl. Velocity returns are coming in at about 105 miles per hour. So we're talking extreme winds here in this violent twister that's about a mile, literally less than a mile, just to the west of Earl. Earl, you can see all of the city streets here, Arkansas Street, and some of the homes. This is where you got the most of the community, but you've got farms and homesteads here out over on the west side of town that you need to be in your safe place. Guys, this is an extremely dangerous situation, and tornado emergency less than 25 miles from Memphis and likely going to pass over Interstate 55. These are the kind of cells that we're going to be tracking, not for a few miles, but likely many miles, and this is heading into Tennessee. So I want to put a track on this. Earl, this is upon you right now as we speak. And then next in line would be Crawfordsville, and if it holds together, which I very well expect it to, cross over the Mississippi River, it could be heading into Millington, Tennessee in about 35 minutes from now, or just north of Millington. So the track's going to be similar to this, or somewhere just north of Millington. So if you live in Millington, you might not be under the warning just yet, or the tornado emergency, but I would anticipate this to be extended your way. And we can take that storm tracker footage out of Wynne, Arkansas. There is a look at this storm, and you can see we've certainly got a rotating wall cloud. I don't see a tornado necessarily on the ground. That does not mean one's not there. We already know this has been confirmed. We already see the damage in Wynne, and now impacting Earl, Arkansas. So avoid this area at all costs. Let your friends know. Let your family members know. Check on them. Make sure they're okay. Make sure they're aware of what is happening. And these storms, these tornadoes, they're moving at a very fast clip, guys. I mean, this is racing off towards the northeast at about 55 miles per hour. So instead of your typical 15-minute warn time, you've got less than 10 minutes typically from when the time gets out. Now that we've got confirmation, they're going to be expanding these warnings out even earlier, so to give ample lead time. But if you're in Earl and just to the east of Parkin, you have a tornado on your hands bearing upon your community and likely going to pick up more debris. You can see on the velocity, we've got clear rotation right there. Now, unfortunately, this is moving right into the community of Earl, Arkansas. So it already devastated parts of Wynne, Arkansas, went right through the heart of town. Here we go, Earl, Arkansas, you're next in line. And then there's Interstate 55. So if you're in Turl and Clarkdale, I would run to your safe place. If you're on the road, you need to get to your safe. You cannot outrun these tornadoes. There is a tornado moving towards Interstate 55 north of Memphis near Clarkdale and Turl. And it's a tornado emergency, confirmed tornado right there impacting Earl, Arkansas, and rapidly pushing off towards the northeast. We're talking considerable threat tag. This is an observed and confirmed large tornado. Just went through Wynne, Arkansas, as well as Parkin, Arkansas, and now bearing on the community of Earl, likely passing by the north and west side of town. That's where we have. So see how this area has a hook, and then we can put the velocity on there and match the radar to what we're seeing, and there you go. I mean, it's textbook example. This is a clear supercell. It's not gonna just die out, all right? Don't think that this is gonna be a short-lived twister. This is a large, likely wedge tornado. I mean, violent, all right? And we're getting huge returns on the velocity. These are just estimations, not necessarily equating to ground truth, but we've seen 120 mile per hour difference there in some of these returns, all right? So high winds, regardless on whether this weakens or stay strength. But I would anticipate this tornado to stay on the ground for miles to come. So let's, again, track this out, Earl. You're being unfortunately destroyed. Parts of town, especially the north and west side of town right now. Booker, you're the next community in line of this violent twister. Tornado moving towards I-55 near Turl by about 5:20 p.m. Gas station, not a safe place to be, unfortunately. If you're on the road pulling off on the gas station, no, don't do it. avoid the area at all costs. If you can't, you got to get inside. A rest area, some sort of interior bathroom. I know there's people working at these places. You need to take shelter immediately. We want to avoid any casualties in today's outbreak, and we've got a lot of areas seeing observed tornadoes. Guys, look at this. Look at the velocity here. We're getting yellow returns on velocity, which is just, so is this, I'm trying to see, we got an area here and we got an area there. Are we seeing two tornadoes? Or are we seeing a larger, or so we're seeing circulation shifts here. So either way, a very violent situation. We got a supercell. This is impacting now the north side of Earl. If this is still going to get, I mean, we got two areas. Let's look at the correlation coefficient and see if we can match both of these up and see what the debris looks like, because these have pushed in. So twin tornadoes. We got twin tornadoes, guys. Twin tornadoes on both sides of Earl. Where was that heavy damage? Parkin. So Parkin was the community. There it is, right there. Heavy damage in Parkin. We've got catastrophic damage in parts of Wynn. Okay, so we're getting word that traffic is being stopped on I-55. That's a preemptive measure to avoid travelers. So there's Interstate 55, right? How far are we from I-55? We're about 15 miles away. And these are moving at about 55 miles per hour. Twin tornadoes, guys. We got twin tornadoes moving towards I-55. So they're stopping traffic in the tornado-warned area so they can at least not have to worry about vehicles. Vehicles, no match for this, all right? Large profile vehicles, and there's time to get everybody out of there before this moves off in your direction. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the result of this is. We already know there's heavy damage in Parkin. Earl, I'm sorry to say, but there likely is, how you remembered the town a few moments ago is probably not the same. It looks like it just missed the center of the city by just to the north, but I mean a difference of a quarter of a mile can be the difference between catastrophic damage, no roofs on homes, walls torn out, and just tree damage. All right, so the north side of Earl probably doesn't look like you remember it 5-10 minutes ago. And this tornado emergency continues to be extended eastward, so now it's getting close to the state line. The next community in line is Grassy Lake Bottom and Booker. You're within less than 10 minutes from this hitting, and then crossing over I-55 near Turl at about 5:20 p.m. So we're talking about 10-15 minutes away from crossing over Interstate 55. There's Memphis, all right? These tornado emergencies are not far from major metropolitan areas. Now, Memphis, you're not in the threat of these tornadoes, twin tornadoes, but it's not to say we could get a cell a little bit later on, move right through the heart of the metro area. So thankfully, this tornado is avoiding the metropolitan area of Memphis, but for these communities north, we've got danger on our hands, and you need to treat this seriously. Let everybody you know. If you have friends in this area, travelers in this area that you may know, if we can pull up that storm chaser video, I want to take a look at our storm tracker camera and see if we're seeing, because we've got twin tornadoes, looks like high winds. There's a school. It looks like they've ended a school early. We're actually out of the school times now, Jackie, but I mean, twin tornadoes on the ground. This is just in Arkansas. We've seen that in Iowa too. I mean, it's constant.